Hello, dear participants. We are glad to welcome you at the presentation of the Global Green Chemistry Innovations in Ukraine. It is financed by the Ecological Fund, GEF. It is being implemented by UNIDA and also Yale University, and also the Center for Clear Manufacturing as the national partner for implementation in Ukraine. Today, you will learn about new opportunities associated with the green chemistry, the steps for implementation of the GreenChem program, and the details for participation of the national stakeholders. I'm Katerina Romanova, the experts in communications, and I represent this program in Ukraine. So let us discuss some of the technical features of this event. We are making a video recording. We will make some screenshots for reporting on social media, and we hope that you have nothing against. We have simultaneous interpretation available. It is in Ukrainian and English. Pick your language in the bottom part of the screen by pressing a little globe of the earth and picking your language. Please keep your microphones off. This way you will not distract the speakers while they are making presentations. If you have any comments or questions, please use our chat, and in the end of our event you will be able to get answers, because yes, we have a Q&A section and you will be able to comment, and we are right now giving the floor to Roman Filonenko, who is the head of Environment, Security and Waste Management Department. Roman? Hello, dear participants. Thank you once again for inviting me and giving me the possibility to take part. A few words about our today's meeting. We indeed have a difficult situation right now, and there are many reasons for that. Despite the wartime conditions, we are already doing some preparations for the post-war recovery and further development of our country. Our European and Western partners are emphasizing the environment protection, and hopefully this recovery will be happening based on the principles of green economy, sustainable development, and the Green Deal. So we are discussing the principles of recovery to make sure the new is better than the old, and that we are able to improve the economic resilience as well. So we understand that at the current stage, we are using some outdated technologies which are part of destructive economy, which are not in line with the closed cycle economy, which is stipulated by a number of Ukraine's regulations. So Ukraine needs to have sustainable recovery with the use of best technologies and practices. We need to follow the modern sustainable development trends, and GreenChem is one of those. Since Ukraine has its European Union aspirations, it has taken on a number of obligations in terms of fighting the climate change and protecting the environment. Basically, we have to adapt our legislation in such a way that it is in line with the best green course practices. Right now, the ministry is implementing a number of international European documents which have to do with waste management and the management of chemical products. Last year, there were two crucial regulations approved, the one on waste management, which well, basically has to do with waste management reforms. This is something that had to happen earlier, but after some lengthy discussions of the draft law, after the public consultations, it has been submitted to the members of parliament. And the second one is about chemical security and chemical product management. Also, right now there is a draft law on joining the Netherlands Convention, and also quite soon the draft law on ratification of Convention 170 on labor. So there is some positive dynamics in terms of the law provisions on chemical products management. We are moving forward in terms of reforms of the environment, and using this opportunity of having this project together, I would like to express gratitude to our international partners for the support of this project, and to give the floor to you, the next speakers. I will be in touch with you today, and thank you for your attention. Thank you, Roman. And right now, let me give the floor to the coordinator of the UNIDA project, Ms. Rodica.
Thank you very much. On behalf of UNIDO, I would like, first of all, to welcome all the participants and to express extended appreciation to the Ministry of Environment and to the Cleaner Production Center in Ukraine, which makes the progress of this project happening in such a difficult and critical situation which is currently happening in Ukraine because of the war. So our support and our all best knowledge will be put on the board of this project, so that to support as much as possible the recovery process and to support the institutions and people of Ukraine. This is a very special project, the green chemistry, because currently there are about 7.7 billion humans living on the earth, and the connectivity among the people has reached unparalleled levels through means of communication, trade, migration, through shared experience in environmental protection area. As you know, the whole world is at a critical stage where we need to reach sustainability. And to improve sustainability, use of resources needs to be substantially more efficient to achieve globality. Such resources include material resources, energy and water, as well as ability to absorb waste. And circular economy is one of the driving concepts towards resource efficiency across very different dimensions. And one essential component of circular economy is green chemistry. Green chemistry, which provides new resources from regenerative materials, which helps to improve logistics and reduce losses, allows longevity of products, enable reducing material complexity, but also destruction of complex materials which are becoming waste. Now, in March 2023, UNIDO, jointly with the Yale University and 6 focus countries, has launched the JEF-funded Global Green Chemistry Innovation and Network Program. And this 6 years program seeks to enable green chemistry capacity building, to locally support innovation, development, the technology scale up in the 6 focused countries, and also to further support the capacity of the national cleaner production centers. The countries involved in these programs are Indonesia, Serbia, Uganda, Ukraine, Peru, and Jordan. And this is the first national meeting to enable the initiation and progress of this project in Ukraine. And further elements of the projects will be brought to you and presented by the Yale University. Now, in terms of the project management, so that to make available this information to everybody, the green chemistry project belongs to is funded by GEF and belongs to the GEF 7 cycle. And you must be aware that in the GEF 7 program, the donor requested all the implementing agencies and also all the countries to fully separate implementation by execution. So in this project, UNIDO has a supervising role. UNIDO will organize independent midterm review and terminal evaluation by the project. The execution of the project is done by the Yale University, which is the main executor of the project for the international network-related components of the project, while at the national level, the green crop chemistry will be executed by the National Cleaner Production Center. That's another success of this project and a fantastic opportunity that we have a national execution which belongs to the National Cleaner Production Center's global network. Because, as it is known, the network of National Cleaner Production Centers started to be founded and set up in 1995. So in 2 years, in 2025, we hope to celebrate 30 years of the existence of the National Cleaner Production Centers. And the National Cleaner Production Centers are a bridge between government and the private sector. And it is extremely important that a non-governmental organization to closely work with the private sector and bring benefits for the progress of both economic situation, to contribute to the environment, and to strengthen the link between private sector and government. So it's not, there is a reason behind the concept of the project and behind the fact that cleaner production centers were selected to participate like national executors in the 6 countries, because they have the ability to mobilize the private sector and to multiply the results which are obtained in the private sector. And with many thanks for such a high participation today, I will give back the floor to the organizers and to the executor of the project, the Yale University. And I remain here to support this meeting, and I hope to have a successful cooperation. And I would like to wish good luck in achieving the best activities execution in Ukraine to the national execution, the national cleaner production sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rodika, and the welcoming word is now that of Lars Hatien, Program Manager, Center for Green Chemistry and Green Engineering of the Yale University. Mr. Lars, the mic is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning from the United States. Good afternoon to all of you. Well, let me continue expressing my thanks to all of you participating in this very important meeting, despite all the difficult situation and all the challenges that you are facing these days. It's really incredible to see so many people from so many different organizations here together today. Well, as Rodica already mentioned, I'm representing the Center for Green Chemistry and Green Engineering, and we are the operating entity or also the managing entity of this project with oversight from UNIDO. And we are very proud to have participants like you and 5 other countries that are going to do similar work to you, all united in one big team. And as Rodica already mentioned, we had the international kickoff meeting in Vienna in March, and we're very lucky that also some of you could connect there. And our role here at Yale University, Rodica already pointed out, is really bringing all of you together. We are bringing expertise from the green chemistry perspective. I will tell a bit more about the basic principles of green chemistry and also about the general expectations of the project in a little while. And we are really hoping that despite all the challenges that you are facing now, you're already planning the transition and after war times. And we are really hoping that we can help you to start this transition in considering green chemistry as one of the important building blocks in the future. So I'm not going to take further time from your agenda. I'm happy to present the green chemistry and some general overview about the project in just a little minute following the agenda. And I want to give back the floor to the organizers. And again, I really want to say thank you for inviting me today. Thank you for having such a fantastic group of human beings connected here today. And yeah, the floor is yours again.
Thank you, Lars. Thank you, everyone, for the greeting words and for wishes for fruitful work of today. Now, over to the presentation. The implementation of any initiative can be successful only if the national context and interests are considered, taken into consideration. To learn about the current situation in the field of chemical management and the state policy vectors with regards to Stockholm Convention on POPs and the joining of Ukraine to the Minamat Convention on Mercury, I'd like to give the microphone to Roman Filonik, Director of the Department on the Waste Management and Ecology Department, Ministry of Environmental Protection and Natural Resources. Roman, the mic is yours. So I will talk about our legislation, and I would like to narrow a little bit the topics to be considered. We'll speak about the law in Ukraine. On the slide, you see the draft law, but this is already a law adopted by the Parliament of Ukraine, and I hope that once it's adopted and the sub-laws, once the sub-laws are produced, we will have some changes, amendments made in the regulation of the chemical safety and the chemical produce management. I'd like to say the following: the preparation lasted for several years. We were added by the OSCE project, and the draft law presentation was made, and we went to Helsinki, Finland, and we did some preparatory work, and we analyzed the legislation. And I have to admit that definitely we admitted some gaps that had to be corrected, filled in, and mostly it was in many fields in the context of the reintegration. And because as of today, definitely in our legislation, we lacked some of the approaches. So as we see from the analysis of my initiatives, there should be the number one spot, the certain reacting to risk-oriented approach with regards to chemical products and the mitigation of the risk in the field of chemical safety. And the legislation of Ukraine back then was fragmented. There was no special acts. The duties were distributed, I thought, intransparently in between us, in between the State Ministry of Health and the State Emergency Service. So we had to resolve that matter as well. And definitely, way back in 2008, the conception of increase of chemical safety was developed, but for a long time it was not fulfilled. And from what we used to have in the past, since 2014, we didn't have any permission system of regulation on the toxical and poisoning chemical substances, and requirements of passports of safety were not compulsory, and the classification was had also some problems which still are lingering there. But so the state standards were adopted way back in the Soviet times, and those state standards, while we are getting closer to the European Union, everything was meant to be aligned to the European standards. And in addition to the association agreement fulfillment, we had to secure the implementation of certain things. And we saw there were some legislative steps. We made some legislative steps to create the basis to switch to the new regulatory system. So we know that in Europe there's a regulation 1907, REACH on the registration of chemical substances, and the regulation 1272, that's the classification of marking and packaging of chemical substances. While developing the draft law, we want to definitely to the fullest implement these requirements into our legislation and to the Ukrainian legislation, because unfortunately, under the current circumstances, taking into consideration we're still aspiring state, not the member state of the EU, we have to make certain steps or take certain measures to adopt our legislation to that of the European acquis, that we have to adopt the European regulations pure. We cannot simply transpose them into the Ukrainian legislation. We cannot do that, but the initial steps have already been made in that regard. And this is the CLP. This is the way the CLP will be within that law on securing of chemical safety. And I hope on the sub law level we will polish everything. So definitely CLP meets the UNO GSS classification. So we have the international classification of chemical substances. Plus, one of the principles is collecting of the information. It is done by the entrepreneur companies, and we'd like to minimize the participation of the state agencies in this context. Meaning that we would like to market be more open for lab tests, to include other participants, and since the marking, the information on the danger of chemical substances will be easier to understand. Definitely, we also got some voluntary marking system adopted, but the ministry thinks that things should be unified and made identical, and there should be requirements with regards of the marking, which should be compulsory. And this very regulation covers the packaging of chemical products. As of now, this has been developed, and it's on the website of the ministry. You can see the draft of the regulation. You can get acquainted with it. And currently, the public discussion is going on, and we're ready for further dialogues, for discussion, to take into consideration any ideas and proposals from the companies, associations, from the general public alike. Now, the next slide is about REACH. This is a technical regulation to be published soon, and the regulations are stable, and we're polishing them now, we're finalizing them now, but definitely the law had made us to show the main principles, reflect the main principles. So the availability of the information on the chemical substance which is needed, and the state registration for all chemical substances, and responsibility for the collecting information of the company. So the state bodies will no longer participate in compiling of this year. That's the information needed to register chemicals, and switching to use of safer chemicals in the long run. So the draft that we proposed would try to make it as close to the European regulation as possible, but there are several arguments with regards to the decommissioning of the chemicals, so because we cannot catch up with all the timelines in the reach. So, and I also know that the European Chemical Agency reviewed some of these REACH and CRP. We're following the amendments, we're following the proposals put to the Chemical Agency, so we're trying to reflect those changes as much as we can in our legislation. So the main fields of regulation, the law adopted has got to do with not only chemical products or produce and certain levels of chemical safety. So chemistry and chemical products are omnipresent they're present in all the factory niches and branches. Chemistry, for example, everything that we see on the slide, they are listed simply here, like food production, car production. So sometimes we have too much chemicals that we actually would like, but if everything is regulated the right way, then things will be just fine. Chemicals can be used safely in case if all these measures are observed. What are the advantages? What are the things that we currently don't have, but we would like to have? We're planning to produce a unified info system that would meet that would use the products that the European Chemical Agency is also using, was already using. Number two, we are going to be
які були у нас раніше. Третє питання, звичайно, це максимальний доступ
to use the old classifications that we had before. The third part is access to information about the dangerous properties of chemical products. One more element in the law is the prohibition of use of certain substances which are extremely dangerous, and there will be a set of sub-laws developed to regulate this. Also, we have developed the issue of government control for chemical products. We set up the responsibility of businesses. There will be some amendment to the penal code for regulating the responsibility for using certain chemicals. Also, the prevention of corruption deeds. So there will be automated paperless system for management of chemical products, which will minimize the participation of officials. That's it from me, and as I have mentioned, tomorrow we are having a meeting of the Parliamentary Committee on Environmental Policy and International Cooperation. We will be considering the issue of joining the convention, which has been on the agenda for quite some time in the ministry. We are finally at the stage of discussing it in the parliament, and hopefully this year we are going to tackle the issue. So the draft will be approved and Ukraine will become a party to the convention. So that's it from me. In case you have any questions, please share them in the chat. Thank you so much, Roman. Indeed, as we can see, Ukraine is on the path of adaptation of its standards to the standards of the EU, and the Ukrainian companies have to get ready for the implementation of this law in time. So let us give the floor to Dr. Lars Saratier from the Green Chemistry and Green Engineering from Yale University.
Perfect. I hope you can hear me, and I hope you can also see my shared screen. So the idea of my presentation is actually to present a little bit the program that we just launched together with UNIDO and also the National Cleaner Production Center, especially also, of course, your National Cleaner Production Center in Ukraine, and also give you a little bit of background information about the concept of green chemistry. And that's actually where I'm going to start out with. So some of you might be chemists, others might not be chemists. So it's important to give you a little bit of background information about the chemistry we're talking about. So chemistry usually is designed to fulfill a purpose. And of course, these purposes can be manifold. Many of you will know that chemistry is used to create colors or pigments, to create useful materials, to synthesize pharmaceutics and drugs, and also to work on the preparation of high-tech building blocks or even aids in food production. So chemistry fulfills a purpose, and this purpose is by design its function. But then also chemistry very commonly and over the last centuries has come with a lot of consequences, and those consequences we are especially feeling right now. As Rodika already said, the planet is very populated and we have more demand for chemical substances, so our chemistry is polluting our water, it's depleting our resources, and it's also used in a way that is not sustainable for nature or for our human health even, and we are accumulating plastic waste. We have a lot of accidents in chemical plants, and overall our processes and materials that we are using nowadays, they are causing, or they are participating in the cause of climate change. So chemistry has consequences, and these consequences are the hazards. And what we as chemists, many of you might agree, some also might disagree, but what we have done so far is we always agreed on that we need the function of the chemicals we are synthesizing. And it's also true that we don't really need the hazards, but the status quo that we have worked with until now is let's fulfill the function that we need and let's deal with a hazard. So that's somehow the status quo that maybe the chemical industry, but also some chemical scientists have locked into, and we have to sort of get out of it because there is an alternative actually for it, because nature also fulfills a lot of function. Nature synthesizes its own molecules without causing any hazard to the environment and to human, and that's actually where green chemistry comes to play, where green chemistry, the idea of green chemistry was formulated. So for those of you that are not familiar with green chemistry is defined as the design of chemical products and processes that reduce or eliminate the use or generation of hazardous substances. And this concept was actually formulated in the year 1998 when Paul Anastas and John Warner wrote the seminal book about green chemistry, the theory and practice, and they formulated also the 12 principles of green chemistry. So the 12 principles of green chemistry are, of course, a very, very helpful sort of guideline on how to design chemicals nowadays that are not participating in the pollution of our environment, which is very important, of course, for our society. It might also be important for fulfilling certain regulations, as you have heard before. And just to name a few of those principles, of course, it should always be a design principle to prevent pollution, but then also the chemicals that we design, they have to be always designed in a safer way. We should use renewable feedstocks, and we should in general work on inherently safer chemistry also for accident prevention. And that is just to name a few. This is, of course, a material that you can find all over the internet, and has already found its way into chemical research in universities, and has also been adopted by some companies. And as I said, so green chemistry is the design of chemical products and processes that reduce or eliminate the use or generation of hazardous substances. And design here is actually a very, very important word, because design is intentional. So when we design a new chemical or a new product, we should always, we should always consider, of course, its function, as we can see here, but then we should also consider some other factors that will help us to step into a more circular, more green economy. So apart from the function, we should always consider renewable resources for its preparation. We should consider toxicity. If a material is toxic for us or for the environment, we should always consider redesigning it to reduce the toxicity. And then we should also make sure that at the end of life of a product or a chemical, we should make sure that it's biodegradable and that it doesn't participate in the further pollution of the environment, especially in these times of society where our planet Earth is so crowded. So I also want to give you, of course, a real world example what that means, because we have talked a lot, but we haven't seen a specific example that really uses green chemistry. And one example where it's actually pretty obvious and easy to understand what the implications of green chemistry can be is the problem that we need, for example, emollients in cosmetics. Emollients are molecules that are commonly used for in skincare products, in shampoos, in creams, to soften your skin. And they have been used for decades. But the real problem that we should have asked, actually considering green chemistry, is how we can synthesize or prepare emollients that are biodegradable, non-toxic, and renewable. Because what our reductionist approach of chemistry has led so far is that we have a lot of polluted water. So the emollients or the shampoo byproducts, they all end up in the water and they pollute our water. And I want to show you the company that is called P2 Science. So P2 Science, they actually developed a new technology that is emollients that are completely based on renewable materials. They are completely based on terpenes that can be derived from botanical materials, which is an approach that considers, of course, the function of the material, but then also the renewability, the toxicity, and the biodegradability. So as you can see, green chemistry is a very powerful tool to tackle many of the different sustainable development goals that were formulated by the United Nations in the SDG agenda. And this brings me to how we can try to use green chemistry in the project that we're actually starting out, or that we already have started very recently, together with UNIDO and Jeff, about the global sustainability. And this program is called the Global GreenChem Innovation and Network Program. And as the name suggests, it's about the creation of a global green chemistry network community, which will then hopefully help us to amplify green chemistry capacities all over the world and support innovation in emerging economies, boost development of promising inventions, and also help to scale up green technologies all over the world, because it's really something that that we need to do to step into a sustainable future. And although Olena and Andrew will most probably talk about the different components that this project has in just a few minutes, I just want to generally give you a little overview. So the idea is to create a global network where it can really connect everybody, to connect scientists and entrepreneurs and also governmental representatives and stakeholders from industry and academia and NGOs, to really bring everybody together and learn about green chemistry, learn about the alternatives that are out there. Because oftentimes people don't know yet that green chemistry is really a viable alternative and is actually something that can be used. So first, it's about mobilizing the global community, bringing everybody together. And then the second very important aspect of this program is actually an accelerator program. So we want to help local accelerator communities, local innovators, local entrepreneurs to get their ideas funded, to bring their ideas forward, and to connect them also to people that might be able to help them, that might be specialists in green chemistry, that might be people that are interested in finding investments and invest in young companies or in innovative ideas, and really help those people to thrive forward. And the idea of these accelerator programs, there will be one in Ukraine, of course, but there will also be one in each of the other participating countries. There will be an applicant and technology selection period, and then we will really try to prepare the entrepreneurs by mentoring, by optimization and piloting of their technologies to start being able to implement their technologies, and then really be able to sort of funnel them into the third component of the program, which is finally the transformation of industries. We heard already about new regulations. So regulations are becoming stricter, and we really want to help with an accelerator program, but also by assisting the local industries to be able to fulfill this regulation by the implementation of green chemistry, and also through the conscious design of highly functional and non-hazardous substances to make the change we need to approach in the next years. So the transformation of industries towards sustainability is a very, very important factor of this program as well. And we really want to help conscious design to be rewarded in this program. And as you already heard from Rodica, key executing partners like yourself in emerging economies are the national cleaner production centers that go back to the year of 1995. You can see all these different colors of the different countries, but all of those countries have actually national cleaner production centers in them. And the role of those national cleaner production centers commonly is to raise awareness, to help companies or entities to obtain financing in investment, and also to provide policy advice to governments, to disseminate new technical information, to give them information about new, maybe green technologies that are available, and also really demonstrate the benefits of green technologies through assessment of their technologies. And what that means for this program, especially also in Ukraine, is that we would like to identify a target sector. We have, of course, many different industrial sectors, and we really would like to analyze the productive sectors to see which are most relevant for the implementation of green technologies, analyze the companies in those sectors, and see if we can help some of those companies that are open to innovation to sort of bring them towards green technology. That would look like the following. We could then help those companies to screen their products and see where they can be improved. We could analyze and assess them in a way that we consider green chemistry alternatives, and if they're viable and also financially viable, then we could help those companies to actually substitute their locked-in non-sustainable technologies by green technologies. So the overall timeline of this six-year program, as also the representatives of the National Cleaner Production Center will show you probably in a little while. We just launched the project the end of 2022, and we had the kickoff meeting in March. And the idea is to sort of gather all the information from the National Cleaner Production Centers, gather all the needs, and have the network up and running by the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, and then start recruiting companies that are interested in doing piloting in this kind of project, but also start recruiting startups and innovative business ideas to go through the accelerator program. And all of that will of course, be assisted by the global network of specialists that can really help in driving all the efforts forward and help in the transformation of the industries where it's necessary. So the global green chemistry network will really help to tackle all the global sustainability goals that we have to fulfill in the future. And this actually leads me to the end of my short presentation. And once again, I really want to thank you all for being here with us today, for listening to my little presentation. And I hope that if you have any question, of course, I'm very happy to answer them in the question and answer session. I think that will be the right moment. And please reach out to us if you have any question about green chemistry in general. Here you find a couple of channels where you can reach myself or also our group in general. This is our center here at the campus at Yale University. So we have the Center for Green Chemistry and Green Engineering at Yale, and we really thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lars. Definitely, the implementation of the program foresees a lot of different activities, and I'm definite that each of the participants at this event will be able to join the program at different stages of the program being implemented and get the benefits from the implementation of green chemistry. In more detail about the first and second component of the program, we're talking about the innovation and inclusive network of green chemistry and the program of acceleration of the green chemistry, and about its role is something that Elena Tobolchuk will tell us, chemical management expert, resource efficient and cleaner production center. Ms. Elena, the mic is yours. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, dear participants, for this great opportunity and for joining us. We have a lot of people who are joining and listening to us even as we speak. So I will tell you in more detail about the innovative network of green chemistry and about the program of accelerator. So the necessary level of education contributes the setting up of new technologies and materials, including in the field of green chemistry. So the implementation of innovative in the field of, I'm going to be asking the participant not to read. So, and this is a very important thing when we're talking about the dangerous chemicals which are traditionally used in production, and the POPs and mercury, which unfortunately are still used in many countries, despite the fact that they impact the environment negatively. So component one means the creation and the development of powerful, global, innovative, and inclusive network in the field of green chemistry, which will let merge individuals and groups of people to shape the ecosystem that contributes the communication of the information exchange and training and the support of innovation. To participate in this network, they're invited entrepreneurs who are looking for tutors and investors to implement and develop the cutting-edge technologies. The investors looking for sustainable technologies for their portfolio. And the experts are also welcome, and the newcomers in the field of green chemistry and engineering are also welcome to establish links and idea exchange. Technical experts and the tutors that are willing to make their contribution into the sustainable technology, chemists, engineers, development, sustainable development ideas, looking for inspiration, and definitely representatives of the educational institutions. I'm talking about students, high school students and tutors, teachers looking for additional source in order to increase their knowledge in the field of green economy, and looking for, and those are tracing the latest tendencies in this field. The green chemistry education plays a very important role because each manufacturer, each consumer has got to know the basic knowledge about hazardous chemicals and know about possible safer alternatives. Special events will help to raise the awareness of in the field of green economy among the scientists, engineers, and teachers and other professionals, which will help to contribute to creation additional opportunities in studying safer technologies and materials to reduce the use of dangerous substances and increase the efficiency of the production of the latter. Training in measures and events will help spread knowledge on green chemistry and its principles among a wider audience, and a regular user will be conscious when making its choice, choosing something that doesn't damage the environment that surrounds him or her. So the network is a place for different training classes, seminars, workshops, and other events. In addition to this, to straighten up the cooperation in between the different stakeholders is one of the important objective. The information will be available free access, so anyone from high school student to CEO of a big company will be granted equal access and will be able to talk to each other freely. And the network will be used to spread the words and engage more people into the accelerator program within the framework of component 2. So in the network, they will help with the defining of the initiatives and business requests that can be converted into commercial solutions in the green chemistry. The stakeholders' engagement to maintain the demo projects and the call for mentors on accelerator. Today, the green chemistry is present in all 6 continents and more than 50 countries, though there are lots of networks and branches, but in most of the cases they are small in size, dissipated, and focus on particular topic. For instance, some concentrate on scientific research while the others are more into training and dealing with the general public. But a lot of them feel isolated and feel lack of sources. So this very program, within this very component, is meant to merge all isolated entities in order to reinforce their innovative potentials and in developing of green chemistry. For that, the network will cooperate with the Institute of Green Chemistry of the American Chemical Society, which actively supports this research in the field, and or with BRP Night, which provides teachers the necessary tools to make the green chemistry an indispensable part of chemical education majoring in chemistry major education. So the main result of this component is setting up of web portal of global network of green chemistry. This service may be multifunctional, but we merge human resources and we provide global communication, which is so much important, which is critical element for all the components of this project. So that's why the network will create a platform for communication in between different stakeholders from all over the world. The network will provide different classes, courses, and so on and so forth. They will be recorded and available. The network will help guide in the accelerator events by the means of platform. Mentors will be searched, and you can supply an application to participate in the accelerator, etc. In addition to this, the platform will publish all the necessary information, and all the latest knowledge will be shared on this platform. So the funding in this is very important.
It's very important for sustainable development, and also there is a crucial component of interconnection between the stakeholders. Quite often the new scientific developments have close to none connection with real production, and this needs to be changed. So the program for the acceleration of green chemistry, which is also envisioned, this will be a way for the innovators to develop green chemistry and green business. So this is an intensive program for the development of startups, and within a short period of time, your team and you are trained, helps to improve your product and get to an entirely new level. This program will enable startups and small companies to take part in green chemistry training and join the network of global leaders. Establishing contacts with well-known companies and specialists from all over the world will contribute to the development of green technologies and innovation. So this program is intended not only to discover and support innovations, but also to develop the innovative potential by means of establishing a direct system of business model support. And the first outcome of this component is the establishment of the accelerator and development of the curricula for the training of mentors, judges, and managers. So the accelerators is both for young entrepreneurs, students, and also for the experienced business people who have had some business experience before, or those who want to introduce some changes into the existing businesses. So the judges and mentors will be selected based on their experience, and the new specialists will get support and also a financial award at the end. The purpose of each accelerator is to provide comprehensive business training for every participant, and also to give each business a space for establishing a functioning pilot and to have a clear corporate partner defined since the very beginning, to make sure that by the end the product is tested in the commercial environment, and thus they will be able to gain new capital. So the second output is the innovation challenge competitions, which will be open competitions for small and medium enterprises looking for solutions for certain production problems. For instance, the improvement of a certain technological process, or a search for a new catalyzer or solvent. And special attention will be paid to the processes that have to do with the disposal of some dangerous materials and pollutants. And the winners at the national level will have a chance to present their results on the global level, and the winners will have connections to mentors, partners, and resources to keep up the development of their innovations, and they will be also multiplied through the members of the network. So this second component will give the theoretical knowledge and resources for the development of GreenChem projects. This will be small and medium-sized projects. The solutions that will be selected and presented to the professional and investment communities, thus supporting the initiatives against harmful chemicals. Some of the main areas that will be considered are some alternatives for microplastic and mercury, new types of plastics, some materials protecting the soil and ocean from the pollution, biologically based substances, and new safe solvents and catalyzers. These solutions have to be intended for the resolution of problems throughout the life cycle of chemicals, including the use of energy and water and other resources, and reducing the risks. Thank you so much for your attention, and I would like to point out that these activities will be implemented keeping in mind the national context and the current situation in Ukraine. And while this program is going to be implemented, we will be contacting different stakeholders to learn about your expectations, and I encourage participants to take an active part in discussions, share your ideas and thoughts, and your proposals will support the successful implementation of this project and develop GreenChem in Ukraine. Thank you. Thank you so much, Elena. And yeah, it's a pleasure to watch the activities in the chat. Thank you for asking questions. And we can see that over 5 questions have been answered so far, which is quite good. And let us get back to our agenda. So let us hear about the third component of this program, which is the alternatives of the GreenChem to mercury and microplastics. Let's hear from Alexander Khatva, from the chemical management expert in the Center for Clean Production. Alexander, the floor is yours. Hello, dear participants of this meeting. I would like to share something about component 3, which is a very important component of the implementation of this program. And let us hear something about the alternatives to permanent organic pollutants. So this is a potential of green chemistry in terms of waste management, and the final outcome of the component 3 would be implementation of innovations and transformations in the countries that develop in the country and outside of it. So these technologies are intended to replace a permanent organic pollutant, which would start from a pilot in one production facility, and then this will be scaled up to other businesses as well. This is how the green chemistry initiatives will be scaled. Also, this will be supporting the local businesses, contributing to the development in sustainable ways with safe processes and substances. So the pilot is an inseparable part because it's providing the infrastructure that's necessary to perform a demonstration of the goods and substances based on GreenChem to show that they are of high quality, that they make economic sense, and they are safe. And the demonstration company is a crucial partner for the accelerator. It will be supporting other activities that are envisioned in this project as well, such as, for instance, the mentorship function. And the selection of the demonstration company will start from the analysis of the industry to make sure we find an industry which uses some permanent organic pollutants. We are analyzing the technologies, making sure that we select the production, the materials, the technologies which are still relying on POPs. And thus we are collecting data about the businesses interested in this project as demonstration companies. And for each of these companies, we are analyzing the quality and scope of the use of POPs in their technological processes. And for each of these companies, we are also analyzing the so-called global ecological benefits, which include the potential of greenhouse gas exhaust reductions, the potential of reducing pollution of air, water, soil, impact on biodiversity, socio-economic and gender impact. And this will be the factors influencing on the choice, the selection of company. So once the company is selected, a more detailed analysis is being performed and some green chemistry alternatives are selected. So here we would do some feasibility studies, the analysis of expenditures, the possibilities of the implementation of this alternative in the production cycle, and also the analysis of the possible impact on the products. Will the quality of the products stay the same? Will the company's position on the market be impacted? And once we select the green chemistry alternative, it's necessary to make sure that this is indeed a green chem alternative. We need to make sure that at least one, or better yet, a couple of green chemistry principles are implemented. So it's an innovative solution and it meets those principles. And one more important thing on this stage is to have expert consultations. The experts of the Yale University on green chemistry. And once this second stage has been successfully passed and the feasibility studies have been completed, then there goes the tracking of some key indicators such as environment indicators, because, well, it's an environmental project, but also other indicators to make sure that the business is successful on the market and successful in its industry. And also in the component 3 of the project, we have some other tasks envisioned. They include the review of the national legislation. Laws do change, although quite slowly, and we could hear today in one of the previous presentations, these changes are being made, and once they are authorized, they become required from all the representatives of the ecosystem, and this lay the foundation of green chemistry. So a very important aspect for establishing foundations of green chemistry is to have the proper taxation rules, and we need to make sure that the dangerous chemicals are can be replaced thanks to the legislation initiatives, and there should be a synergy effect which can be quite beneficial. So the component 3 of this project envisions the training of some of the government representatives, some business stakeholders, which is a useful addition to this project. So there should be training on dangerous chemicals, especially those on the POP list, and also we need to make sure that the green chemistry alternatives are implemented. So also we need to improve the awareness on the existing green chemistry alternatives for POPs, because it's the consumers, it's the community that contributes to the change, and they are the ones who create the demand for green chem products, and this is how we can have some real impact on the project. And also we will have seminars and trainings delivered at different levels, making sure that we disseminate the experience and practices of GreenChem. The acquired experience can have to do with the scientific research, but also spreading the information on the successful implementation of the project in the demonstration company. We need to understand that permanent organic pollutants are unfortunately used quite widely. They are a part of a big number of different daily products, and we sometimes are not even aware that we are contacting substances, but we should know that safe alternatives exist, they are commercially available, and there are some ready solutions which are being successfully implemented.
Some are lab tests piloted at companies, so they are not used on large scale. And in this slide, in this table, you can see several examples of POPs, which are used the most, and you can also see their English acronym. This is how they are marked in different articles and books. As a rule, these substances are used as plastificators or as to produce plastic and other types of materials. They are used in producing special fabrics, glues, hermetics, and so on and so forth. And they are used as a component in different fields of metal production, like they remove grease before applying additional protective substances. They're used on wide scale, the second group. So they are omni used. I haven't given you all the possible ways to use them, and for certain ways of using them, they are alternatives from green chemistry. And you can also see them highlighted on this slide. And this project foresees the substitution of POPs in industry. Agriculture is not in game this time, and we know that pesticides, some pesticides are considered to be POPs, but they are not covered by this very project. That's why they are not shown in this survey, in this review. For short chain chloride paraffins, they not all of them have alternatives, these paraffins. And I would like to say that in addition to direct chemical substitution for certain POPs, there are non-chemical alternatives. So instead of using a chemical substance to make a material inflammable, the very material is produced using inflammable components, like you can see on the screen, like synthetic materials are used, they're existent and they're inflammable. And mercury wise, there are not, doesn't have many alternatives, and the mercury used to be used in the past as a catalyst in certain polymer reaction to produce plastics, but as of today, it's not used anymore. Other catalysts have substituted mercury by now. So, to participate in this program as a demo company or demo plant, you need to meet certain requirements, as I've said. You need to be a producing plant, not an agriculture company. This company should be using POPs. You need to identify which POPs you're using, and you need to prove the amount of the POPs used so that we know the volume of consumption of POPs you have at your production plant. If there are several candidates willing to participate in this process, they are compared to each other in terms of the size of POPs they use and which potential global economical benefits the company and the state will get, the state of Ukraine, the society of Ukraine, and our planet. And these POPs will be once these POPs will be substituted with green alternatives, and what is assessed is the social impact from the outputs of the project. And another important thing in order to qualify for is the ability to scale up. So if it's a unique company, one of a kind in the country, definitely this will not be selected, because the experience and output gotten will not be extrapolated or upscaled to cover other companies and plants of Ukraine, because other countries, the experience of each and every country on the national level to a certain extent is unique and cannot be adopted, cannot be used in other countries of the world. And the company to participate as a demo company in the very project will have several benefits. Number one, access to the latest technologies. For the participants, will be able to deal with work scientists and other companies from all over the world to implement the latest ecology clean production technologies. And the company will be counseled by the international experts, because the companies selected as demo ones, one company per country, will have a chance to stay in touch with leading chemistry technologists. In our case, is the Center of Green Chemistry of Yale University, and will have an opportunity to be counseled and supported within the framework of their projects. Another advantage is the increasing of the compatibility, because the company will reinforce its presence on the market, will widen the supply markets, because once the company is known, it will have access to new markets, and the eco profile of production of the company will increase. Fundings will be provided, and the technical assessment will be done, and different types of fundings will be offered. And the produce produced at the demo company will be safer. For the project is meant to develop eco-safe solutions, promoting eco-safe solutions. So the representatives of companies present at today's call, please, you see the web link. If you would like to participate as a demo company, the simplest way is to get in touch with us by way of filling in this template. Once we've gotten the main information about you, we will contact with regards to details of your participation in the project. I'd like to wrap up my presentation here. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Alexander. So now we're over to the most important part of this event, the Q&A session and experience exchange part. A few words about the rules. In order to ask your question, please write it in the chat or unmute yourself, and please be using the channel, the language that matches the language that you will be using, English or Ukrainian. For that, go to the bottom of your screen and select the language. And let me remind you, one of the rules of our event it has got to do, please listen to what the moderator is saying, please be tolerant, and please not violate the participation rules, and take turns when asking questions, and please listen to the answers. So with regards to the chat, I see that there are about 7 questions, and all of them are answered by now. Should you have more questions, dear participants, feel free to raise your digital or virtual hand, and Anatoly, the mic is yours. Dear community, my name is Timchenko Anatoly, professor of the chemistry of Nizhyn State University, named after Mykola Gogol. I'd like to ask you the following. It's a great pleasure of mine that we have representatives of Ministry of Ecology here, and professor of Kyiv Polytechnic University, Dmytro Ivanovich Mendelyev, said there is no waste, there's rather substance that hasn't been, chemical substance that hasn't been used. So if you have a waste, you can do something good about the waste. Let me give you an example. About 10 years ago, when the Minister of Ecology was Mr. Zolochevsky, you may remember 3,000 tons of tyronitriphenol. Definitely, this is a toxic substance, and Mr. Klashevsky was saying that substance was good for nothing. They paid green money, a lot of money. It was taken too far away. There was a lorry that got capsized in the vicinity of the city of Lviv, and 2 stages, and we got pharmaceutical substance paracetamol. So meaning Farvex Panadol. So out of 3,000 tons, we could have earned hundreds of millions of dollars, or even $1 billion. When I heard that, I asked my students. I was teaching at the city of Chernihiv, and my students took them 2 stages to produce the substance of paracetamol. My question is the following: I'd like to ask the ministry people: is there a list of especially dangerous waste, and I would like to stress once again, any waste can be transformed into good stuff, and you can get income, just like I've given an example of that from 10 years ago. Do you have that list of dangerous substances that we can check out and see maybe we can turn that list into something? Thank you very much, Roman. Thank you very much, Anatoly. But so, can you tell us about the list of waste that can be turned into good stuff? So I don't remember that back then you mentioned that name and that story, Gexabenzola. I may be wrong, but again, we're not talking. Definitely, we would like the waste to be recycled to get benefit. That's why we introduced a hierarchy of waste management, according to which if there's nothing we can do about the substance, that will define the solution. But if we can do something about the substance, recycle it, we will definitely recycle it. So I'm waiting for proposals, and there's nothing on the website. If we need to, if you need your engagement, our engagement into what you're offering, we're ready to cooperate with you. Thank you very much, Roman. Thank you very much, Anatoly. We've got more questions. Ludmila, go ahead. Thank you very much. I'm from an institution from the chemical department of Kyiv National University. Green chemistry is one of the subjects that we teach in our classes at the university, one of the classes we teach at our university, and we're so much interested in being granted access to the modern training books and other training information on green chemistry. And we would kindly ask you to engage us into your events. And do I read you well that there was a lady talking about stage 1 and stage 2. Can we turn to you, asking you for this type of information that you can provide us, the students and the university, the chemical department of the university? Who would like to reply to this question? As far as I understand, this question goes to Olena, our second speaker of the day. Thank you very much for your question. Definitely, you can contact us directly, and should you have more problems, questions, we will try to help you resolving those. And speaking about training materials like books or articles, whatever, definitely you can contact us. You can ask us the particular question with regards of if there is analog substance that can substitute that chemical. We will try to help you find it. And definitely thank you very much for this high interest that you've shown to watch this topic.
Пане Андрію.
Дякую. Мене звати Андрій.
Yes, Andrei. So I'm the Center for Clean Production. Thank you for this lively discussion and for Anatoly's remarks. So one of the tasks of our project is to find some national potential for resolving GreenChem tasks. So if we have opportunities, any ideas for the recycling, well, of course, everything can be recycled, but the price can be different. So our task is to develop the national database of experts and solutions, and Lena has mentioned it in her presentation. Once again, if you have any good ideas, if you are indeed dealing with this, if you would like to join the project at the stage of further implementation, we can be in touch, and the contacts are there in the chat. Thank you, Andrei, for answering, and I guess Elena has some follow-up. Yes, speaking to Anatoly, if you have any specific solutions for such problems, as I have mentioned in my presentation, we will have both the accelerators and business competitions. You can join those, and such ideas are highly welcome. If you would like to learn more about such opportunities, please contact us, and we'll be glad to assist. Thank you. Lyudmila, you are holding the hand. Do you have other questions? No, it's the hand from the previous time. Okay, then we have a question from Dmitro Cherny. Dmitro, the floor is yours. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure that I have started this communication with the so-called green chemistry, although the formalization of this name is quite difficult, but it's surely a change for the better. And coming back to our officials and Roman, we need to do something with the precursors, because it's indeed a very difficult subject, because it cancels out the number of solutions. We are almost like the young Chinese communists. We create problems for ourselves, and then we need to solve those problems. So that's one question. And my question is now to Mr. Khakhatoua. We know each other quite well. So you have mentioned in your presentation about different things, but you have not mentioned in much detail the microplastics. So indeed, it could be by a mistake, but have you looked into the subject of microplastics and its components? I'm asking this question because I have spent quite a lot of time, for almost 30 years, as a technologist for water preparation. So the extraction of microplastics, that's one of the painful issues in this process. Yeah, thank you, Dmitry, for asking this question and sharing your experience. So let us hear from Alexander and Roman. Thank you. Thank you for your question. Indeed, microplastics, they are included in the name of the component 3. This is why I was mentioning it. And at the level of the country, we are not considering microplastics so much. We are currently focusing on the POPs and their substitutes. So this is why I did not focus too much on microplastics. Thank you. And Roman, can you add anything? Well, I don't have much to add. I have mentioned before, we work within our competences. If you have any proposals to us concerning the regulation of precursor, so for instance, the permanganate of potassium. Well, I don't believe it's a serious pollutant, but the precursor specialists may have a different opinion. Well, let's be open. It's just to give the chance for bribes to the auditors' authorities. Okay, thank you so much, Dmitro, for your question. And now we've got a question from Roidik Ivan Unida. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. On the question of microplastics, I would like to explain this topic. We have been making a clarification during the inception, but the inception was attended by a limited number of the participants, and therefore I ask permission to share my screen, if possible. Okay. Now, this project is funded by GEF under the GEF 7 programming structure. And if these are the programming priorities of the GEF 7, which I am definitely sure that the experts in the ministry, the chemicals department, are very, very aware of. The different colored columns, green, yellow, land degradation, these are funding chapters under the GEF 7 established by the donor. The green chemical project is funded under the category chemicals and waste. And if you check the donor programming principle, what is falling into this light blue column, chemicals and waste, this is the eligibility for the interventions under and activities under our project. Now, microplastics in the structure of the donor falls under international waters. And it is not in the funding availability given by our donor. So what I'm saying is that indeed, microplastics, like training topic in the non-investment, pilot project categories, or because we have two types of activities like projects to be initiated under this project. One is like new activities, investment, startup programs, and which we have been discussing. And there is another category which is a pilot project, so which will refer to making an example from an existing business. But the eligibility is under chemicals and waste priority of the GEF 7 cycle given by the donor. And therefore, as microplastics falls under international waters in the donor priorities, it's another budgetary chapter, and we cannot do this in the context of the actual project. But I am definitely sure that you can look at the microplastics from the perspective of investment under the new GEF 8 cycle. But keep in mind that it falls under international water, and our project is funded here. So I hope this clarifies the scope of the activities. Thank you. You can find these priorities on the GEF website here.
Дякуємо, пані Розіка, за відповідь.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rodika, for sharing about microplastics. And we have also got a question in the chat from Viktor Romanovich. How GreenChem can contribute to increasing the fertility of low fertility soil that will later be used for agricultural purposes? So let us hear from our experts. Alexandra, the floor is yours. Yes, I would like to share the following. In this specific project, we are not considering the possibility of the use of green chemistry in agriculture. So this is outside the scope of the project, but to look at it from a more general standpoint, how can green chemistry contribute to fertility of low fertility soils? Well, I believe it's not the green chemistry that should be used there. So green chemistry is something that is intended to replace the existing chemistry. It's about the design of chemicals. It's about the reduction of waste. So I believe there are other solutions, tools, which are quite well known, tried and true, and it can be used for increasing the fertility of soil. Now, speaking of the soils that have possibly been polluted by the industry because of the long-term use of chemicals. Well, before using them for agricultural purposes, you have to perform decontamination, and there will be certain limitations. There are certain biological methods how to renew soils and how to cleanse them of chemical pollutants. So in Sweden, for instance, there was a military base that existed for quite some time. These soils were polluted by the explosives, but at that place some bacteria were found that can successfully process that waste. So if soil is then treated with such bacteria stems, it can later become suitable for agricultural use. Thank you so much, Alexander. And do we have any other questions? I see no hands, and I see a question in the chat. So we are interested in water preparation and microplastics. Well, Dimitri, please contact us. Yeah, we are becoming a platform for discussion. Of course, Dimitri can contact. Yeah, so if possible, please contact me by email. My email is there in the chat. Yeah, so please share your email once more so that people are able to contact you. Yes, okay. I will share my email once again. So yeah, indeed, we are becoming a platform for the exchange of information. So hopefully you can see my email already. Yes, thank you so much, Dmitry. So, dear participants, do we still have any questions left? Anything you would like to learn from our presenters? Maybe something that you would like to learn about the participation in the project?
So we seem to have answered all the questions, and we seem to have answered all of them. So then I suggest to go over to the final part of this today's event of ours. And first, I'd like to express my gratitude to all the participants for being proactive and in the time slot allocated. These are initial steps in the spread and the knowledge on green chemistry in our region. The program is meant to last for 6 years, and in the future holds a lot of activities for us in store, and all of the stakeholders will be engaged: the government, the business, the society, the scientists. So please follow our latest news on our official web pages to be in tune with everything that's going on. Please, the entrepreneurs, if you're willing to participate in this international project as a demo company, please follow the link in the chat, the ones that you can actually see, or please scan the QR code, which you can see on the screen, and please fill in the Google templates and wait for our phone call. And please, all the participants, please assess the quality of this event by following the link you will see in the chat. Please feedback to us your reflections are important because we're trying to make our cooperation as pleasant as it can be, as fruitful as it can be, as efficient as it can be. Once again, all those who've registered and who've left their contact information, they will be sent forwarded for materials you have seen all through today's event. Dear participants, once again, thank you very much for your active participation in the event. See you soon and see you during our upcoming activities. Thank you very much for having been with us. Thank you very much. Best of luck to all of you.